Hi there, welcome to edupediaworld.com. You're watching the video on coordinate geometry. So in this video we'll discuss extra questions on Cartesian system and plotting a point on a plane. So these type of questions we are going to discuss are generally seen in examination in the form of true or false questions or multiple choice question, but they are in the examination, so you have to watch this video carefully. So let's get started with the first example number 1. Now the question says we have to write whether the following statements are true or false, and you have to justify your answer. Means you have to give the reason for the true or false. So the first question is you have to tell whether the point 30 lies in a first quadrant. So let me draw the plane first. Now suppose this is a Cartesian plane, and as we know this is a first quadrant, this is a second quadrant, this is a third quadrant, and this is a fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, x is in positive direction, y is in positive direction. In second quadrant, x is in negative direction and y is in positive direction. So in the third quadrant, x is in negative direction and y is also in a negative direction. And in the fourth quadrant, x is in positive direction and y is in a negative direction. So which is a structure of a quadrants. So the point is 3 and 0. Now we can clearly see that in this point the ordinate part is 0, so which clearly signifies that this point lies on x-axis. So this means this point will lie on x-axis, this axis, and we can clearly see that both the number are positive, like 3 and 0. 3 is positive and 0 is also positive, so which clearly signifies that this point will lie in a first quadrant. So this point lies 30 lies in a first quadrant. The statement is true. Now the second question is the point 1 and -1 and -1 and 1 lie in a same quadrant. So the points are, the second question is the points are 1 and -1 and -1 and 1. So we can clearly see that in both the points, in this point, in the first point, x is in +1 and y is -1, and here x is -1 and y is +1. So we can clearly see that in both the points they have equal number but they have opposite sign. Means in the first point x is +1 and x is in the second point -1. So which clearly signifies that these points can never lie in a same quadrant. So the statement is false. The third question is the coordinates of a point whose ordinate part is -1/2 and abscissa is 1 are -1 and 1. So let us discuss again how to write a point. Here in the third question it is given that abscissa is 1 and ordinate is -1/2. Means the x part is 1 and y part is -1/2. So we clearly know that we write point always as x and y. So this means the point will become 1 and -1/2. So the statement is false. Why? Because the point will become 1 and -1/2. Now the fourth question is a point lies on y-axis at a distance of 2 units from the x-axis. We can say like this: if this is a 0, this will become 1, this will become 2. So this is 2 units from x-axis at y-axis. So the point can be this, and its coordinates are 2 and 0. Now in the question it is clearly given that the point lies on y-axis. As we have already discussed, if the point lies on y-axis, its abscissa part will be 0, means the x part will be 0. So which clearly signifies that the point will be 0 and y. where y can take any value. Now the point lies on y-axis at a distance of 2 units, so the point will become 0 and 2. So the coordinates will become 0 and 2. So the statement is false again. Now the fifth question is the point -1 and 7 is a point in a second quadrant. Now in second quadrant we can clearly see that we have x part as negative and y part as positive. So in this quadrant we can clearly see that x is -1 and y is +7. So the statement is true. Why? Because we have x as negative part and y as positive part, so it lies in a second quadrant. So let's move on to the next example, example number 2. Now the example says we have to write the following. We have to answer these following parts using the diagram. Now we have to write the coordinates of B, C and E. So first question is we have to write the coordinates of B, C and E. So B coordinates will be, now B is here, so which clearly signifies that B x part will be -5 and y part will be 2. So the point will become -5 and 2. For C we can clearly see that it is a point over here, so the x part is -2 and y part is -3. For E the point is here, so we can clearly see that its x part will be 3 and y part will be -1. Now the second question is the point identified by the coordinates 0 and -2. So we have to identify that which point refers to coordinates 0 and -2. So first coordinate is 0, so 0 is here, and -2 means it will be on a y-axis. So y-axis is this, so the point is F. So the point will be F. Now the abscissa of point H. So the abscissa of point H means we have to write the x part. So the x part of H will be x part. Now H point is over here, so we can clearly see that H part will be, the x part of H will be, or the abscissa of the point H will be 1. The ordinate of a point D. The ordinate of a point D. So the D point, we can see it clearly lies on x-axis. So whenever point lies on x-axis, its ordinate part is always 0. So the ordinate of point D will be 0. So let's move on to the next example. Example number 3. Without plotting, the question says without plotting the points, indicate the quadrant in which they will lie. So let me draw the plane again. Now the plane is like this. This is a first quadrant, this is a second quadrant, this is a third quadrant, and this is a fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, x is positive and y is also positive. In the second quadrant, x is negative, y is positive, and in the third quadrant, x is negative and y is also negative. In fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is also negative. So the first question is the ordinate is 5, means ordinate is x part is 5 and ordinate is 5, so this means y part is 5 and abscissa is -3, so the x is -3. So the point will become -3 and 5. So we can clearly see that x part is negative and y part is positive. So x part is negative and y part is positive. So this point lies in a second quadrant. In the second question, the abscissa is -5 means the abscissa is a -5, means x is minus and y is also minus. So in the third quadrant we can clearly see that x is also in a negative direction and y is also in a negative direction. So the point lies in a third quadrant. Now third question is abscissa is -5. Abscissa is -5 means abscissa is in a minus part and ordinate is in a plus part. This means abscissa is in a negative direction and ordinate is in a positive direction. So which clearly signifies that the point will lie in a second quadrant. Now let's discuss the next example, example number 4. Now in this example you have to tell in which quadrant or on which axis each of the following points will lie. So let me draw a plane again. So this is the first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third, and this is fourth. So x, y, y dash and x dash, or it's a plus, plus, minus, minus and plus. Now so we have to tell well in which quadrant or on which axis the following points lie. So the first point is -3 and 5. So -3 means x is in a negative direction and +5 means y is in a positive direction. So clearly the point lies in a second quadrant. So this point lies in a second quadrant. Now the next point is 4 and -1. So x is in positive direction and y is in a negative direction. So the clearly we can see the point lies in a fourth quadrant. Now the next point is 2 and 0. So we can clearly see that its ordinate part is 0. So this means this point lies on x-axis, and since the x part of this point is plus, so this means this point will lie in the positive direction of the x-axis. So this means this point lies in a first quadrant, or this point lies in a positive direction of x-axis. Now the point 2 and 2. So we can clearly see that both x and y are in a positive direction. So which clearly signifies that this point lies in a first quadrant. Now the point is -3 and -6. We can clearly see that both the points x and y is in a negative direction. So which clearly signifies that this point lies in a third quadrant. So let's move on to the next example, example number 5. Now we have to, in this example we have to find the coordinates of the point. The first question is we have to find the coordinates of the point which lies on both x and y axis. Means suppose we have plane like this, so we have to find the points where now we have to point which lies on x and y axis both, means they should lie on both the x and y axis. Suppose if the point lies on x axis, its ordinate part will be 0, and if the point lies on y axis, its abscissa point will be 0. Now if the question says that the point lies on both an x and y axis, so which clearly signifies that the point will be, this point will be origin, means the ordinates of the point will be 0 and 0. So which clearly signifies, so this is the point. So this is the point. We have to identify whose ordinate is -4 and which lies on y axis. Now clearly we can see the point lies on y-axis, so the x part is 0 and whose ordinate is -4. Ordinate means its y part is -4, so clearly the point is 0 and -4. So if we draw a diagram like this, 1 2 3 4, or we can say 1 2 3 4 5, and -1 -2 -3 -4, 1 -1 -2 -3. So we can clearly see that the point will be this point. So this is a second question. Now we have to find the coordinates whose abscissa is 5 and which lies on x-axis. If the point lies on x-axis, so its ordinate part will be 0, means it will be 0 and it will have an x value. So clearly the abscissa is 5, so the point will become 5 and 0. So the point will be lie on x-axis in the positive direction. So clearly the point will be this. So which is a solution for third question. So let's move on to the next example. Example number 6. Now this example is very good example, so you have to watch the video very carefully. The three vertices of a rectangle are 3 and 3 2, -4 and 2, and -4 and 5. Plot this point and find the coordinates of the fourth vertex. Now it's given that these 4 points will make a rectangle. So this, and you know that what are the features of rectangle? Opposite sides are equal and parallel. Means this side and this side will be equal and parallel, and this side and this side will be equal and parallel. So here we are given 3 coordinates. So when we join the 3 coordinates like this, so we need a fourth vertex to complete a rectangle. So means we have to find the coordinates of the fourth vertex. So we already know that opposite sides of rectangle are equal and parallel. So we can clearly see that if we take this side BA, so the side BA, the length of BA will be, we can measure the length of BA from the plane. So clearly we can see the length of BA will be 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, 5 unit, 6 unit, 7. So it will move 7 points. So clearly it will comes out to be 3. And if we measure the side BC, comes out to be 7 units. And if we measure the side BC, means we measure the length of BC, it will be 1 unit, 2 unit and 3 unit. So it will be 3 units. So we can clearly see that the point, the fourth vertex, we can say D. Let's take it as a D, X and Y. So we need X part of D. Now so X part of D will be how much? It will be 3. It should lie over here. When we join this like this, now suppose if this is a D part, now we need to find D part. So X part, we need X part, so the X will be 3 and Y will be 5. So which completes the rectangle. So this is how we can find the vertices of any figure which we are given. Now let's move on to the example number 7. The example number 7 says we have to plot the following points and write the names of the figure obtained by joining them in order. We have to obtain the figure. Now suppose, let's draw a plane first. Suppose this is a plane. This is x dash, this is y, and this is y dash. This is origin. Let it be mine. This will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4, this will be 5, this will be 6. Now this will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. Now this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Now the first point is P point, -3 and 2. -3 is here and 2 is here. So we can draw a line like this. So this is the point. So this point is P point. Q point is -7 and -3. So this is -7 and -3 will be here. So we can draw a line like this. So this is a Q point, and R is 6 and -3. So 6 is over here and -3 down over here. So we can draw a dotted line like this. So this is the R point. Now the last point is S, 2 and 2. So this is 2 and this is S. So when we join these points, we join like, let's see if we can join like this. If we join like this, let me use different pen. So this is the point, and you can join P and Q. And join we can join Q and R. Then we can join S, R, and we can join P and Q. So which clearly signifies that the figure is trapezium. We can clearly see that the figure P, Q, R, S forms trapezium, in which PS and QR are parallel lines. So this is how we can obtain the figures. Now let's move on to the next question. Example number 8. We have to plot the point XY given by the following table. Now means, suppose we have to draw the following points on a Cartesian plane. So let's first draw the Cartesian plane. The Cartesian plane like this. So this is the Cartesian plane. This is the origin. This is X. This is X dash. This is Y. And this is Y dash. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be -1, -2, -3, -4. This will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4, this will be -1, -2, -3, -4. The first point is x is 2 and y is 4. So the point will be 2 and 4. So the point will be 2, x part is 2 and y part is 4. So we can draw a line like this. So the first point will be 2 and 4. The second point is x is 4 and y is 2. So x is 4, this is the point, and y is 2, this is the point. So we can draw a dotted line like this. So the point will be 4 and 2. Now the third point is x is -3 and y is 0. So clearly the ordinate part is 0, so the point lies on x-axis. So the point will be here. So this is the point -3 and 0. Now x part is, fourth point is x is -2 and y is 0. So clearly y is 5. So the point will become -2 and 5. So x is -2 and y is 5. We can mark 5 over here. So we draw a dotted line like this. So this will be the point. So the point becomes -2 and 5. Now the next question is, in this question x is 3 and y is -3. So x is 3 and y is -3. So clearly the point will be like this. You can draw a dotted line like this. So clearly the point is 3 and -3. Now the last point is x is 0 and y is 0. So both x and y are 0. So the point will be 0 and 0, which forms the origin. So this is the origin, 0 and 0. So once again, thank you for watching the video on this video on edupediaworld.com. Keep watching further videos. Have a nice day ahead.